I think I said this yesterday, but if you're a golf fan, I think we got an awesome Masters. I think we're about to get an awesome PGA Championship. If you're a golf bettor who likes to go further down the board, these ain't your tournaments. In my opinion. And it worked out pretty well the first time around with Rory.
But that's more pronounced than ever before, it feels like. This wasn't always the case with every major ever.
I mean, this one's even this one's even crazier than the Masters to me, and we said a lot of these same things heading into the Masters, but you're talking about Rory off a Masters win. You've got Scheffler and Bryson both coming in off of wins. Like, JT has won recently. Like, the top of the board is as strong as it's ever been, yes.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, I think that's the difference. And by the way, I think JT is a good play too in that 20 to 22 to 1 range. I mean, I don't think I'm going to add him to my card, but I like him as well. I mean, when you see, here's the thing: the last few years we've caught something that we hadn't had since Tiger Woods, which is a couple of people, maybe one in Scottie Scheffler's case last year, but a couple of people that are dominating at the top of the board. And when you look at this course and you look at the PGA setup, it's probably going to be pretty tough, receptive because of the rain, but pretty tough nonetheless. The rough is going to be grown out a little bit. You're really, and when you factor that distance thing in there and you got Scotty, Rory, and Bryson at the top, it's really hard to ignore those three. Yes, somebody could sneak up, even like a Sepp Straka like last week, but this is a different type of course. Yeah. And I think over 4 rounds, you're really seeing like a top tier that we haven't really seen in some time.
The dude's been great this year. 8 events, 8 cuts made, 3 wins. In his last 5 starts, tied for 7th, tied for 12th, won in the playoff of the Masters, tied for 5th, and then won in the playoff of the Players. The guy's been absolute nails throughout this year, and now he goes to a place where he has a ton of success. I don't think it's a surprise at all that some spots have Rory as the co-favorite and that his odds to finish top 5, whatever it is, are all there. And I do think that there is it's a non-data point for the most part, but there are something to be said of finally getting the monkey off your back and getting the Grand Slam and now appearing in a tournament like this at a course that you are very well built as a golfer to dominate. I was reading a great piece from The Athletic about just how Quail Hollow is viewed in the grand scheme of the PGA Tour and like how Rory McIlroy, like he has almost the antidote to the course, which is like, I'm just going to bomb this thing, dude. Like, I can get over all of this, and some of these guys that are playing really well can do that too.
Where do you look, Johnny? You're a golf guy. Colin Morikawa has not won in so long. I know he's a popular play, 22 to 1 here at Circa. Who would you look at here? You going to look at a guy like Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, Joaquin Niemann, Hideki Matsuyama? What are you thinking here?
I'm thinking I'm thinking Schauffele here.
Schauffele?
We got a pretty nice price on Schauffele, 22 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Probably won't find that at too many places, so I think that's a good price. And Schauffele, he's one of those guys that, he had some injuries. I think he's okay now. He can compete with the best of them. So that's where I'd be looking this week on the short end. I mean, on the high end, there are some really great prices out there. I mean, Patrick Reed, 90 to 1. Corey Connor, 65. Even Shane Lowry's been playing real well this year. He's 55. I don't know if I want to play Shane Lowry after the way he lost the tournament last week, because that's probably really still in his mind. But Hovland at 50, there's a lot of great prices for guys out there if you think you can get by the top 2 guys.
So if you go back to 2017, so this is even before they moved it. So 2017, these are the list of the winners of the PGA Championship. 2017 was Justin Thomas. 2018 was Brooks Koepka. Then they moved it in terms of the calendar. They moved it to May. 2019, Koepka again. 2020, the pandemic year, was Colin Morikawa at TPC Harding Park in San Francisco. Then it was Mickelson in 2021, JT in 2022, Koepka again in 2023, and Xander last year. So it's really been a who's who. And remember, before that stretch, it was like the Jimmy Walkers and the Jason Duffners and the YES, famously against Tiger Woods. It was all those kinds of guys, right? Like, and so this is it is a different animal for sure.
Yeah, it is. And you mentioned those names, Rich Beam, Sean McKeel. So, yeah, you would get some outliers, I think, win this event. And, the PGA, you get a different course every year. But and some years you get scoring. It was 21 under, by the way, was the winner last year with Xander. And then you've had 5 and 6 and 7 under. So it's a unique deal. You got to handicap the weather, obviously, but this is a long course. This is 7,600 yards, and it's a par 71 as well. It's very straightforward, and that's why I think you're going to want to look at distance. You're going to want to look at the iron play, strokes gained approach. You're doing that pretty much every week. Par 5 scoring, got to take advantage of the par 5s here. So this is a familiar course for these guys. I mean, granted, they'll try to grow out the rough a little bit, but it doesn't play like a U.S. Open where it's like, okay, if you're right around par, that's going to be a good score. You will be able to score on this course.
Fill us in on the course and the weather. Going to be wet, it looks like.
Yeah, it's been real gross out there the first couple of days. Caught a couple player interviews here today of just they haven't even been able to get out there. Justin Thomas was saying he hasn't even gotten out there to take a shot. We saw the video going viral yesterday of Hideki, I don't know, putting in rain, which I don't really know how that helps you because you're not going to be putting through puddles while they're playing in the actual tournament. But hey, whatever gets you there. Looks like we're going to be a little more quiet on Thursday. Looks like the rain will slow down a little bit then, but it's in the forecast all weekend, fellas. So it's something to keep an eye on. Look, I think for some, we just got kind of tee times coming down today and match pairings coming down today. So that's something to keep in mind. Just think, especially if you're out there betting first round leaders, that's something you're going to want to check back in on a Wednesday night before you bet those. That's usually when I go and bet those. I'll usually bet a couple, 2 or 3 each tournament, but you want to do it as close to tee times as possible so you've got a real good feel of what that weather is going to be like. As far as the course goes, though, Paul, this is Quail Hollow. We see this every year on the PGA Tour. It's one of the toughest, best courses that we see on the PGA Tour, usually holding the Wells Fargo Championship, now the Truist Championship. We just saw that a week ago at a different course. Had to switch that up so we could get the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. But this is a long golf course. It will really test guys off the tee. This is for us to handicap golf, we talk about approach being the most important stat week in and week out, and that is true basically every week on the PGA Tour. But off the tee and your ability to drive the ball this week about as close as it gets at any other tournament to being the most important stat. So really looking at some guys that are long off the tee, and rough's supposed to be a little bit longer than what we normally see at Quail Hollow for the Wells Fargo. So you're going to want to keep it in those fairways.
Shane Lowry at 55-1, and then Russell Henley at 65-1 are other ones that will for sure be there. Dave talked me into a bomb and Daniel Berger at over 100-1. To give you those 4 guys, anyone you want to kind of highlight for me there?
It would be Shane Lowry. I mean, he pretty much carried Rory at the Zurich Classic, the team event 2 weeks ago, and you could see how well he was playing. And then that carried over to last week at Philly Cricket Club for the Wells Fargo Championship. The Truist Championship. He played really well and didn't have his best stuff on Sunday. Now, this golf course is really long, and Shane is long, plenty long for PGA Tour standards. I don't know if he's PGA Quail Hollow long. I guess we'll find out. I think Sepp Straka, who won last week at Philly Cricket, would be another player where clearly he's playing well, but does he have the specific skill set, to borrow the phrase, that you need on this particular golf course? But I really like Shane in that category.
PGA Championship, your thoughts, sir? Because I know you love to bet golf too.
I do, and I mean, if you've listened to me before, I mean, me and Kelley chat about it all the time. I'm not a big top of the board guy. I always like to look a little bit deeper. I don't really want to bet guys at 4 or 5-1 on the odds board, but as we're entering this PGA Championship, guys, all the top guys are playing so well. I mean, Scheffler just won by 100 in his last start. Rory McIlroy, as we know, finally gets the monkey off his back, plays well at the Masters. He just played well all season, winning at the Masters, winning at the Players, winning at Pebble as well. He's just racking up big wins at elite golf courses. And Bryson as well, playing well on LIV, in the mix at any big tournament. So it's hard to ignore the top of the board. I think out of the 3, I'd still lean towards Bryson just because of the price. I think he should be priced close to these guys, which he is. He continues to creep up the board. I do think it's creating a little bit of value in that next range, though. If you're interested in a Justin Thomas, who's obviously won this tournament a couple times, I think Xander Schauffele is a very interesting name to look at if he's found his game. But I can't ignore Ludwig Aubert, Aberg, whatever we're calling him right now. I can't ignore him at that number, guys. If you would have told me a little while ago if I'd get him close to 30-1 at a tournament like this, I think that sets up great for him. I feel like I'm going to have a few bucks sprinkled on the big Swede this week.
Jason Day, you can find him in the range of 80-1. He's got 9 events so far this PGA Tour, 9 cuts made, 4 top 25 finishes, 3 top 10 finishes. His last 4, he did withdraw from the Truist last week, allegedly an illness, so we'll see if maybe there's something there. But the 4 before that, okay, tied for 49th, but tied for 8, tied for 27th, tied for 8 again, and a course in which over 28 rounds he's played relatively well. I know he's not like the best, but I feel like Day, he was an intriguing long shot that I added at 81 for me this weekend, just given how well he's played and some pretty decent form and some pretty decent performances this year.
Yeah, the rounds number closer to Day than Rory McIlroy for Justin Thomas and Bryson DeChambeau, but yeah. I've heard a lot of smart people say that those are 2 guys that have really interested in them coming into this week as well. Kind of those mid-range prices. So for DeChambeau, I guess plus 950, not particularly mid-range for him, but JT 22-1.
Yeah, so Thomas was the other guy that really did kind of stick out when you looked at some of the numbers, at least for me. He's playing really well, too. He's played in 11 events so far this year. He's made all 11 cuts, 6 top 25 finishes. He's finished 6 events inside of the top 10. Look at his last 4. Tied for second. He won in the playoff of the RBC Heritage, tied for 36th, and an outright second as well. And we know, too, again, course form. He won Quail Hollow, or won the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow back in 2017. At a course like this, which is a little bit more forgiving, he's a little more errant off the tee in terms of fairway accuracy, only hitting about like 57%. You can get away with that at a course like this at Quail Hollow. So I think that's going to work really well. His putter's been actually really hot so far, too. I think JT is a guy that's very much worth looking at. And again, like you said, mid-range, too. So for your average bettor at 22-1, it's a little bit more fun to sweat out, or even higher. I think there's 25-1 out there on him.
I want to ask you about Brooks, because I feel like people are thinking that it's over for Brooksy. The Brooks days of winning the PGAs, however he's done it. It was just a couple years ago when he won his last one there at Oak Hill in Rochester, New York. Can he just show up at PGA Championships and U.S. Opens for whatever reason and find himself in the first page of the leaderboard, Rex?
Boy, if Brooke could just shoot that comment that you just made into his veins, he would do it every single day. He just thrives on the idea that people are going to doubt him, that somehow they think he's not a major contender anymore. And I would kind of put him in the same category as Jon Rahm last year. And again, I caution against small sample sizes when it comes to the players in the major championships, because I don't think anything has changed with Brooks. He's still the same player that I truly believe can flip the switch. He just didn't do it last year. He didn't do it at the Masters earlier this year, and it remains to be seen if he can here. This is the type of golf course that Brooks in his major championship prime would have loved. He would have salivated, and he would have had that chip on his shoulder, people doubting him. I just don't know if he's still there, to be honest with you.
I am going to look at Bryson DeChambeau, who's got great putting stats at Quail Hollow. DeChambeau, you could play him at about 11-1. I think that's a number at Circa where Dave Ross is sitting right now. That's not bad on Bryson. Top 5 plus 180 at DraftKings. So I'm going to look at him. Justin Thomas is a player I have not touted for a long time. I've not bet him for a long time. I think he's finally got his form back. He finally broke that, the winning drought he had recently. Played well again last week. He's a 2-time PGA champ who's won at Quail Hollow 8 years ago. JT to win at about 22-1. Might be worth a shot there if you're looking for mid-range. Also top 10 at plus 175. Shane Lowry is the bridesmaid, and he's been so close so many times. Lowry's playing good golf. You can get him top 10 at plus 350. I'm not sure if I'm going to bet him to win, but when you're talking about the 50-1 range on a player like Shane Lowry, it might be worth a shot. And I'll give you one more angle here quickly before we run out of time. How about first-round leader market?
Ooh.
Justin Rose, who led the Masters after the first round, is the only player to finish top 15 at each of the last 5 PGAs. Rose is a fast starter. Might be worth a look at the first-round leader. He's 90-1 to win the tournament, so you get a big number on that. And Keith Mitchell, this is pretty obvious by now, but Keith Mitchell, former Georgia Bulldog, last 5 first rounds on tour, scoring average of 64.2 with 3 firsts and 2 seconds. In the first round, so I think he's worth first-round leader bet as well.
I like your play on DeChambeau, Wes. I have only one bet so far. I did bet Justin Thomas over the weekend at 22-1. I was hoping I was going to get better number than what was going to get reposted at, but if it looks like there are 22s out there, I like JT. Bryson, I was hoping to get something a little longer than that, but you're right, man. All the books were caught up over the week. I think this is setting up. If you're a golf fan, I think we're going to get another great major. If you're a big golf betting fan, I don't know that my card's going to be very long because I think we are going to see one of these top guys win it. How do you feel about that? Just kind of early thoughts as you're getting your card together.
I think we might have another Rory and Bryson showdown in a major. That's how it's shaping up when I look at the trends and some of the stats, at least early on, and they're right up there at the top. And you know what? If it is, great. That's great for the viewer, not necessarily for the bettor, as you mentioned, but take advantage of the placement markets. Go with the top 20s, go with the top 30s this week, because there will be some guys under the radar that play very well, but maybe just don't quite have enough to beat the big boys at the end.